Please allow me to share why the still popular belief regarding God's hatred of homosexuality is not in alignment with theological truth. Translation: perhaps God actually adores the gays. Perhaps God adores all of us who embody various manifestations of sexual and gender variance from the traditional heterosexual norm. Here is a list that outlines several of the profound and light reasons as to why God loves the queers. Of course, God is a diversely defined word, perceived and interpreted by many people in multifarious ways, and certainly whoever hears this offering will attach one's own notions regarding God onto its message. From my standpoint, that's okay. Feel free to attach, project, superimpose whatever you will. For my primary concern with God here is not dogmatic in nature. Rather, my main concern with God in connection to this offering is simply as the intelligent source from which all tangible matter came into being. And my main concern with people in relation to this offering is to provide its message to as many people as are open to it. I trust that it will have a positive impact on those individuals. So here's why God loves the queers. Reason number 1. Queer people can serve to dismantle faulty assumptions. In their egocentric reality, some people believe that if they look a certain way, the right curves, the right angles, the right hair, and the right teeth, and they make enough money, then members of the opposite sex will automatically want them. We queers can serve to disrupt those easy, often lazy assumptions which are all too convenient for the one who assumes. Dismantling assumptions is a public service because ultimately convenient assumptions only enhance the grandiose delusions of the person who assumes. And a society full of egocentric people is a challenging society at best. Therefore, dismantling assumptions is a spiritual, ego-annihilating service. We queers are ideally positioned to disrupt such assumptions by pointing inward to a deeper truth evident within the human experience. In other words, we are the representatives of a complex truth, for we are living embodiments of the truth that when two people are magnetized toward one another, it is, at least primarily, an internal point of attraction that drives them. This internal point of complex attraction cannot be neatly fit into heteronormative categories. Furthermore, if a point of attraction between two people is not strong enough to outlast superficial factors which change with time, the couple won't last. Or, at least they will not last in the long run. Perhaps even more mysteriously, an internal point of attraction cannot be instigated by making purely external alterations. In other words, no matter how hard one might try to fabricate attraction, it is still an internally instigated reality and not necessarily influenced by outside factors. Okay, so for example, if John is not attracted to Sarah, and Sarah, in an effort to encourage an attraction, changes her hair color, more likely than not, John still won't be attracted to Sarah, even after her hair goes from one color to another. Simply put, it might be external factors that contribute to an initial spark of attraction, but it is non-tangible chemistry that counts in a long-standing attraction, which then leads to attachment. So, perhaps those who challenge superficial assumptions actually serve to illumine life's delicious complexity, a complexity which some believe reveals life's inherent sanctity. If attraction were all too simple, life would be simple and not an adequate reflection of a mysterious, divine source. Life is not a cardboard cutout, because God is certainly not a cardboard cutout. Reason number 2. Queer people are often artists, entrepreneurs, and visionaries. Our various differences in gender and sexuality, as compared to the heterosexual norm, can fuel notable differences in how we view the course of human life. And while these differences are exactly what have made us vulnerable to discrimination, the same differences can also be assets to us. And these differences can emerge as assets not only individually, but within the context of society. For when one sees the world differently due to a unique subjectivity within the world, one can uniquely contribute to the world. Perspective counts for a lot. So queer people can lend, and we often do lend, our unique perspectives to the creation of all kinds of art and novel experiences. Art honors God, because God is, after all, the quintessential and ultimate creator, and behavior that imitates God merits God's love. Reason number 4. Historically, queer culture has been associated with sex, even sexual obsession. However, I find that often queer people, both those who commit to a life with each other and those who also decide to start a family together, newly remind us all of the universal drive for human intimacy. This drive for intimacy reflects a need that far transcends sexuality itself. Queer people can remind us all that there is more to being than biology. People, in general, are drawn to couple and to create families primarily because of emotional and spiritual yearning. I believe that much of sexual desire, in fact, is actually masked psycho-emotional longing. The innate drive for connection, belonging, and ultimately unity is behind much of human behavior. Though, of course, as Freud allegedly reminded us, sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. But queer peoples are reminders that it is not actually sexuality itself that makes the world go around. It is not sexuality alone that allows for the legacy of human life to continue. Of course, it is true that sexual interest is an important factor in bringing folks together across the sexuality and gender spectrum. One might argue that, at least initially, sexual chemistry is one of the primary forces that instigates connection between individuals. And yet, sex alone is not what compels people to cultivate the courage and endure the compromises that are required for any of us to create and sustain important commitments. Yes, sex is a wonderful gift, but it is not enough in and of itself to inspire people to stay true to our most important commitments. So queer couples who foster committed relationships and then start families bring out the deeper meaning inherent in what has often been presumed to be the normal trajectory of a straight life. These queer couples remind all of us, gay, straight, or otherwise, why so many dare to participate in human rituals of coupling and family creation. Why do we, as a human species, make these enormous leaps? We do it due to cravings of the heart, which outlast cravings of the body.